Moving on now though, sun lovers beware. Slip, slop, slapping that sunscreen may not actually give you all the SPF protection that you think you are getting, because 2 brands of sunscreen have been pulled from the market and another will be relabelled after Consumer New Zealand testing found that they gave far less SPF protection than they advertised. Here's Eric Frickberg.
A smattering of sunbathers were defying Wellington's usually chilly weather today and soaking up the rays at Oriental Bay. 19-year-old student Elizabeth Mitchell always uses sunscreen and says she needs to know it's reliable.
There's rules about what we sell as food, so I think there should be the same rules that apply, that if you're selling sunscreen it should have to go through some kind of testing to prove that it is reliable and meets a certain standard.
Her companion James Donaldson also wants certainty when it comes to sunscreen.
If you're buying sunscreen for the purpose of protecting yourself from the harsh rays, you want to be able to rely on that. Otherwise, you're just putting on cream that does nothing, really,
But tests by Consumer New Zealand have shown you can't always rely on sunscreen brands to protect you as much as they promise on the label. The test showed Snowberry Family Plus sunscreen SPF 30 had an SPF of only 20, and Pure Blend sunscreen SPF 15++, marketed as a natural sunscreen, had an SPF of just 4. They've both now been withdrawn from sale. A third Pure South 100% natural sunscreen will no longer be labelled as a sunscreen after it listed its ingredient, raspberry oil, as having an SPF of 28 to 50, when in fact it was just 5. Consumer RNZ CEO Sue Chetwynd says there's a health risk from unproven claims on such products.
Consumers should have absolute faith when they use sunscreen. Consumers should have confidence that when they buy a sunscreen it is going to do what it says it does.
Back on the Wellington beach, Fernanda Beras, who hails from normally blistering Brazil, was well aware of the dangers from New Zealand sunshine and also needed assurance that the steps she was taking to protect herself would work.
Especially because here in New Zealand the sun is more strong, so I think it's really important because of cancer. I have some people that I know that they die because of cancer, so I think it's really important.
It wasn't possible to get responses from all the manufacturers of the now withdrawn products. But Kelly Willoughby of Hastings-based Pure Blend says she didn't test her sunscreen before putting it on the market, and she willingly withdrew it when the SPF 15 claim proved wrong.
If it tests that it's under the SPF 15, which I didn't know because I can't test it because you have to send it to Australia anyway to get tested, I withdrew it anyway because, I don't want to say it's SPF 15 when it's not, even though I've put the amount of zinc in that the guidelines say is for 15.
In a statement, the Ministry of Health says there could be a claim under the Consumer Guarantees Act if a sunscreen has insufficient UV protection. It adds sunscreens are regulated as cosmetics, but research is underway to decide if they would be better regulated as therapeutic goods like medicines. Consumer New Zealand, meanwhile, remains on the warpath. It's testing more sunscreens and will have further results around Christmas. For Checkpoint, Eric Frickberg.